Hey crew, I've got the key to that 25 BMW Z4 M40i manual. We are going to take it for a drive, but first, let's check it out. It looks on the inside and outside. The big news for 25 is the return of the manual transmission to the Z4. Otherwise, the car remains largely unchanged. So we've got the wide interpretation of the kidney grills, at least they're not the beaver teeth tall versions. You've got functional front air dams, functional cooling there, and functional brake ducts down here at the corners. Above are projector LED headlights with LED TRLs and turn signals. This one is painted in frozen deep green metallic, and while it is a cloudier day and therefore hard to see the metallic flake, the color and the matte finish are very cool. It accentuates the ridges and grooves on the car. At the side, with the Handschalter manual trans pack, you get a unique set of 19-inch front, 20-inch rear wheels wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport tires, 255 section front, 285 at the rear. Within those wheels are red painted M Sport brakes, 4-piston calipers up front. With the Shadowline pack, there's black gloss for the functional side vent, door mirrors, and trim. The profile announces the rear drive proportions with the long hood, long dash to axle ratio. Looks absolutely best with the top down, but still good with the black fabric roof in place. And around back, we see an integrated spoiler, Z4 and M40i badging, thin LED taillights and turn signals, non-functional corner vents, 2 gray painted trapezoidal exhaust ports, and a gray painted diffuser. I really do like the rear view and the profile. It's just that flattened nose. Looks like they're cramming a lot of stuff into a small space. My question for you is, which looks better, this Z4 M40i or the old Z3 M Roadster? Let me know in the comments, and let's check out the interior. Opening up and looking inside at this Cognac Vernasca Leather interior. I like the pattern stitched on the seat backs. Those are heated, power adjusting. You also have adjustments for the side bolsters for the driver, very cool. M40i tread plates and aluminum accented foot pedals are there. The doors are in black leather up top with contrast stitching. Nice padding for your armrest. That's injection molding down low. You get 2 one-touch windows, power adjusting and power folding door mirrors, 2 positions of memory for the driver, and an optional Harman Kardon sound system. Hitting this button here releases the trunk lid. It doesn't pop it up at all though. Inside is a decent 10 cubic feet of space, and if you need it, there's a pass-through right there in the center. Since it isn't power operated, you are going to use the handle to close the lid. That's easy to do. And for additional small item storage behind the 2 seats, there is a netted pocket. That has proven very useful to me. Stepping inside is a cinch without that roof in place. Closing up the door. There's a good solid thud, and there's smart keyless entry for the front doors. The steering wheel is leather wrapped, manual adjusting, I prefer that, and heated with that button there. It's thick in the hands, but not overly so, and the diameter is not too large. There are physical buttons for your driving assistance features and media settings. Beyond that is a separated gauge cluster, as opposed to a lot of the BMW LCI vehicles with a single screen encompassing infotainment and gauge cluster. I think I prefer this setup. It's more driver focused. I also love this detail. The Z4 they show in the image here is the same color as our tester. Above is a head-up display with the premium package. There's stitched leatherette up on the dashboard, and the infotainment system isn't running the latest iDrive software, but it's still pretty quick responding, and it's very intuitive to use with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Beneath is a dual zone auto climate with physical controls for that and for media, including a volume knob. Now I know the buttons add some visual clutter, but I'd rather have that than a touchscreen that controls everything and could be distracting to use while driving. Under that is gloss black with a Z4 logo that you can slide forward to find an optional wireless charging pad. You've got a USB-A port and DC outlet as standard. More gloss black surrounds your drive mode settings, parking brake, your iDrive controller that can be used instead of touching the screen. Glad that's here. The gloss black, we know it. It smudges, it scratches, it collects dust. I wish this was like a metal trim or something. Then there's leather around your gear selector, which feels perfect in my hand. Leatherette tops the console, that's contrast stitched. And this is where you find the cup holders. Now, the unfortunate part of this design is either you get an armrest or you get cup holders. You can't use both at the same time. And there's a USB-C port in there with not much storage. Now I'm going to lift the power-operated soft top. Which is a pretty quick process. Windows are going to come up to finish it off. And now taking a look at visibility with the top in place. There is definitely a blind spot over my shoulder. The view out the back isn't bad though. And we've got standard blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic. And headroom for myself at 6 feet tall with the seat all the way lowered is great. Now let's take the Z4 M40i for a drive. All right, let's fire it up. A little character from the Inline 6 on startup. Hello, cabin crew. Thanks for joining for this drive review in the 25 Z4 M40i manual. I'm going to begin in the comfort drive mode, and I'm going to waste no further time with the top up because it's summer here in Southern California, and I'm in a Roadster, so of course the top is going down. And 10 seconds later, I'm free. Into reverse, all the way over, you feel a defined notch as you go in there and up. That gives you a backup camera in a high resolution. You also have parking sensors, no surround view, but you do have backup assist. So I'm just going to let out the clutch a little bit, and it's going to take me along the same path I took to get into this space. Well done, Z4. Now into drive, into first gear rather. It's a manual, come on. And let's begin with the world famous horn test. A proud trumpet of a horn. And what about that turn signal sound? Classic tune from BMW. I like it. And I'm a fan of this powertrain. The B58 engine code, single turbo, inline 6-cylinder, makes 382 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque, says BMW. Everyone else says it makes a lot more. It is shared with cars like the BMW M340i and the platform mate to this vehicle, the Toyota Supra. And the Supra got its manual transmission first, but now you don't just have the 8-speed automatic in the Z4, you've got the 6-speed manual. And that channels the power to the rear tires. But unlike the M2, M3, and M4, all of which get a 6-speed manual as well, this one doesn't just give you the short throws and the distinct notch into each gear, it also gives you some feel to the way the lever moves within the linkage to each gate. In the M3 and M4, it's like I'm moving a stick through butter. I get nothing back. In this car, I feel something, and already that makes the Z4 M40i a more engaging manual transmission car to drive. Now, I do still have the same complaints I had with the M3 and M4 with the clutch, because while the pedal is well weighted and it's pretty forgiving, the engagement and release point are kind of mysterious, because you think the engagement point is early on, and in fact it is, but then you think you can release it as you're starting to feed in the power and your foot is moving off the pedal, but then it lurches, it pops the clutch a bit. And that only happens when you're trying to hurry it along. If you slow things down, it's fine, but this is a sports car. You should be able to hurry things along if you want to. Right now, I don't need to hurry at all. I just need to take a full view of that coastal perspective and enjoy the Z4 as a roadster in this environment. It's just spectacular. And I mean, regardless of transmission, I'm gonna have the same experience with the top down. I've got this windshield back here, and with the windows up, there's not too much turbulent moving air, not that thump that could happen with roadsters. And as I go to the brakes now, before my turning radius test, I find them to be agreeably easy to modulate, come up to that smooth stop. Now with the wheel fully cranked, nice tight turning circle there. And with this manual transmission package, you also get a firmer set of front and rear springs along with stiffer anti-roll bars. And that sounds like could be a problem if you want to relax and enjoy a cruise in this car. But even on these 19-inch front, 20-inch rear wheels with those low-profile tires, the ride is very compliant. There is a little more chatter, I would say, on the road surface than the auto transmission car with its softer springs. But with the adaptive damper suspension, it just moves through all the bumps and bruises of the road to keep you very relaxed. And the seats are comfortable. I'm not gonna say they're amazing because the padding is a bit on the firm side, but all the adjustability, the shape of the seat, the adjusting side bolsters as well, mean that I've got a great driving posture for myself, and for my body type at least, they feel pretty solid, at least for, let's say 45, maybe an hour behind the wheel. After that, you might want to get out and stretch your legs. Coming back to the B58 motor for a moment, I love this engine in all of BMW's automatic transmission applications, and honestly, I love it even more here with the 6-speed manual. With the peak torque coming in so early from just 1600 RPM, it's effortless to get up to speed and smooth. There's not like that latency as you wait for the boost to build. It just gets you there. And as you're cruising, as you're working between the gears, I don't experience a torque dip as I transition between gears. There's so much power. You do have to be watching either the head-up display or the gauge cluster because the speeds just pick up. And that's just in the responsiveness of the comfort drive mode. If you really want to perk things up, go into sports and hold on. Oh my goodness. 382 horsepower, come on. Who are you fooling, BMW? This is over 400, or I'm changing my name to kilometers per hour. That third gear, that'll take you places. Like to a jail cell if you're not careful. But is it worth it? Possibly. This car is fast. It is very fast. It is not to be underestimated or underappreciated. Makes some fun noises in sport too. Woo! Snap, crackle, and pop came along for the ride. I do want to try out the dynamic handling and braking though, so in preparation for that, I'm going to go into the sport traction mode so that isn't too much of a nuisance as I carry speed into this curve before going hard on those brakes. Nice bite from those. Good pedal placement for heel toe downshifts. Turning in, it's a decreasing radius corner. I'm going to see if it'll rotate the back end. Lots of grip, lots of grip. And the E-dip. That soundtrack is so good. That E-dip really knew how to vary the lock and maintain grip and power to the outside wheel. That was sensational. I need to do it again. Okay, here we go. Yes! Wow, super tidy. Very neutral and flat. So impressive for a convertible to do all that without having the structural integrity of a hardtop. Let's just break that down for a second. Now, I had the benefit of off-camera doing that one more time on the decreasing radius downhill portion and found that this car doesn't love to be ham-fisted. I tried to get it to misbehave and it mostly just washed out the nose. I didn't get nice rotation, controllable. No, it just washed out the nose. So when driven one notch back, finessed, this car performs beautifully. The steering feel is solid. There is good communication as you're adding lock. It's not brimming with feedback like you get out of, I don't know, say Porsche Cayman or a Porsche Boxster, but it's still very, very good. And the suspension is well sorted. I discern the changes they've made to this manual transmission version compared to the auto. The auto just felt a little less sharp than this car, again, when driven with the perfect amount of aggression. Now I want to spend at least a little bit of time with the top up because it's also raining right now. So I'm going to pull that, which I can make this conversion at speeds up to 30 miles per hour, which I would be exceeding if I did that on the highway. And there we go. And now I'm going to quiet up here on the highway to listen for the cabin volume with the lid in place. Well, I think it's a positive that most of what I'm hearing is the rain droplets pelting off the windshield. The wind noise is minimal. Tire and passing road noises too. Pretty well insulated with the top up. And in 6th gear at about 70 miles per hour, I'm chilling at 2,500 RPM. Not much of that inline 6 noise is making its way into this cabin. If you did want to use the Z4 as a commuter car, you would do so without the benefit of a robust set of driving assistance features. I just have regular old cruise control here, not adaptive, and no steering assistance, just a lane departure warning system. Before I jump into pricing and competition, let's review the top speed and fuel economy. Top speed for the Z4 M40i manual is 165 miles per hour, and the fuel economy is 19 mpg city, 26 on the highway, and 22 combined. The starting price for the Z4 automatic M40i is about $67,600. If you want the manual, that's another $3,500 on top of that. This one, as tested, is a bit over 77 grand. The most direct competitor to this car is the Porsche 718 Boxster S. That starts at $84,000. It makes 350 horsepower, gets to 60 in 3.8 seconds, has a top speed of 177 miles per hour, and fuel economy of 22 combined. Then from America, there's the Chevy Corvette Z51 convertible that starts at about $81,000, makes 495 horsepower, gets to 60 in just 3.2 seconds, has a top speed of 184 miles per hour, and fuel economy of 19 combined mpg. That means that for a pretty decent price discount, you're getting a very numbers competitive car with a great engine, gearbox, and dynamics. The Porsche Boxster, yeah, it's a wonderful to drive vehicle, but I mean, you add on any options and you're looking at mid to high $90,000 territory, and the Corvette puts down some crazy figures. It's good to drive, but it just doesn't have the option of a manual gearbox. So I can really see the appeal to this Z4 M40i. I'm so glad it has the 6-speed now. Which would you guys choose though? Would you go with the Z4 M40i with the auto or the manual? Would you choose the Corvette Z51 convertible or the Porsche 718 Boxster S? Let me know in the comments, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this POV drive review. I will see you again next time.